Chair Burton,
Present.
Commissioner Puppy,
Here.
Commissioner Ragsdale, Commissioner Kupsick. Here. Vice Chair Damasio,
Here.
Commissioner Bassler,
Here.
Commissioner Trupiano,
Here.
Alternate Hester, Alternate Manuel, Alternate Belshi, Alternate McDonald. We have a vacant seat this evening for District 2.
Thank you very much. Next on the agenda is approval of the minutes from November 26, 2024, Planning and Zoning Commission regular meeting. Are there any edits to the minutes? If not, may I have a motion?
I motion that we accept the minutes from November 26th.
A second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. All right. This is coming straight from Teddy's heart. Item number 3, cancellation of December 24th, 2024 Planning and Zoning Commission. In other words, we will not have a meeting on the 24th.
Darn.
Aye.
Thank you, Teddy.
You're welcome. All right. Regular agenda item 4A, Buena Vista Expansion, conditional use permit case, number PLZU-24005. Presenting is Trish Cooley.
Good evening, Chair, Vice Chair, members of the Commission. I am Trish Cooley, and I have before you the Buena Vista Expansion Conditional Use Permit for the use of manufactured home park, case PLZU-24-0005. This request is only for the conditional use permit. It does not include the approval of a site plan, which is forthcoming. So the conditional use permit application request is to allow the expansion of the existing Buena Vista manufactured or modular home park by about 5.8 acres. This site was not previously associated with a conditional use permit, and it was determined that a permit would be required for the expansion area. If approved, the Buena Vista mobile home manufactured home park would be able to provide an estimated 32 additional home sites. The subject site is located south of the southwest corner of West Yuma Road and South Apache Road, just north of Villages at Sundance. You have single-family developments to the east, to the south, and to the west. And to the north, you have the existing Buena Vista manufactured home park, as well as the Leaf Verde RV park. So the subject site and the existing Buena Vista Park and the Leaf Verde RV park are within the commercial center zoning district. You have some planned residential zoning districts around the site to the east, south, and west. And you have a little bit of planned community further south of Monte Vista, as well as some general commerce to the northwest and neighborhood mixed use and mixed residential further to the west. So this site, as well as the surrounding area, is in the neighborhood land use designation. You also have some business commerce further to the north and west, and again, that master planned community further to the south. The purpose of the CUP is to ensure the use is appropriate given the surrounding areas and uses. So the development code does list out some factors to be considered, and I provided them for you here. The first is consistency with the general plan. The general plan land use designation of neighborhood denotes areas that have a broader range of residential development from low to high densities. The use of a manufactured home park is residential in nature, and it is consistent with that neighborhood land use designation. Another factor that we should consider for this use is the zoning purpose and intent. The subject property is zoned commercial center as shown previously, which does allow manufactured home parks with a conditional use permit. I should note that the use-specific standards for manufactured home parks are in Article 3 Development Code and will be addressed with the forthcoming site plan review. Next, the use should also be consistent with the adjacent uses. The proposed site plan is adjacent to the existing Buena Vista development on the north and west sides, and as well as some single-family residential developments to the east and south. I did want to point out that the densities of the Village at Sundance and Anderson Park have a density of between 3.2 dwelling units per acre to 4 dwelling units per acre. The subject site, if it builds out with the 32 home sites that we anticipate or approximate, it would equal about 5.5 dwelling units per acre, which is similar to the existing Buena Vista home park. So the residential nature of the manufactured home park and the density of the proposed use is compatible with that adjacent single-family residential uses to the south and east, as well as the existing manufactured home park to the north. In regards to adverse impacts, staff does not anticipate any significant adverse impacts from the development of the site with the proposed use. We also need to look at the availability of services for the use. So that site is within the City of Buckeye water and sewer service area. Any specific improvements that are required for those additional home sites will be analyzed and determined at site plan and required at construction documents. We anticipate that the current existing level of maintenance of the manufactured home park will continue. Finally, in regards to the natural environment, we do not anticipate any significant adverse impacts to the natural environment. So all public notification requirements have been met by the applicant. And with that, staff does recommend approval of the Buena Vista expansion conditional use permit, case PLZU, TAC 24, TAC 0005, subject to conditions A through F. I would be happy to answer any questions you have. And is Chris Birch here? Yes, Chris Birch with the applicant is also available to answer any questions as well.
Tris, does he wish to make a presentation?
Say again?
Does he wish to make a presentation?
No, he doesn't have a presentation.
Very good.
Sure.
Commissioners, starting on this end this time. Ms. Puppy, any questions?
Yes, Trish, and maybe this is a question for Mr. Birch. I would like to know, are there going to be any plans to put in some kind of a traffic signal when they're coming out of there, since they are, maybe this is more for future developers, but I'm just curious.
Excuse me, sir, I'm sorry. Could you state your name and your address for the record, please?
Chris Birch, representing the applicant, WLB Group, 1600 West Broadway, Tempe.
Thank you, sir.
So to answer your question, right now we're showing 2 access points that are within the existing Buena Vista community. So there's no access on Apache Road. So we don't have any traffic signal planned.
So there will be, there's another access point for that expansion to come out?
There's 2 access points
Okay.
they're actually, ingress and egress is located within the existing community. So the site plan shows two points that are, like I said, within the developed area. So there's not going to be, if you see, look at the site plan, you can see that on the west boundary and the north boundary, we have two proposed access points. And that's, again, those are local residential roads within the community. There's no access plan to Apache Road.
Would there be any possibility that there could be a lane for them to, there is a lane dedicated for them to come in and come out then? Like, you know, for a limited,
Not within the existing community. If you're referring to Apache Road, I know there is a current, it's within the capital improvement project program. There is currently designed for Apache Road improvements. They're going to improve the right-of-way to future build-out, which I know they're at 90% plans right now. And according to the CIP manager at the city, he said that it's planned for construction in FY16, fiscal year 16. So, but there are proposed improvements to Apache Road. But like I said, I can't really speak to that right now. I know they're at 90% plans, and it's not, right now the project's on hold. That's the last I heard from the town.
hi, John.
Mr. Willett?
So what's going, is there going to be anything like a dedicated lane or anything like that?
Yeah, so John Willett, City Traffic Engineer, also Acting Engineering Director. So to kind of follow up on Mr. Birch's comment, CIP project to improve Apache Road is in the holding phase, fiscal year 26.
Okay,
It has a good possibility to be one of the first GO bond projects, so it may happen sooner than 26, but it will improve Apache Road to put 2 southbound through lanes. So there will no longer be the one that's out there today, there'll be 2.
okay.
There will not be any right turn lanes on Apache as part of the agreement. A little more history backing up. The city asked and received from the development the right-of-way dedication for their future improvements, with the understanding the city would build the improvements. That was done 3 or 4 years ago, I think. So it's a CIP project, and it'll hopefully be done fairly soon. The improvements will probably possibly be done about the same time they're all finished with their approval and bringing some additional.
Okay, I think you had mentioned that in a prior meeting a few months ago, that there was going to be two lanes eventually.
Right.
So that's each way. Yeah, that's good news, so.
And then to comment on his as well, their development accesses existing roads today that access Apache. So their project is not bringing any new access points on Apache to serve these 32 lots. They're gonna use what's already out there today.
Okay, thank you very much, John, and thank you, Mr. Birch, and thank you, Trish.
Ms. Cupsack?
No questions.
Thank you. Vice Chair?
No questions.
Mr. Bassler?
No questions.
Mr. Tripiano?
Just one question. Why wasn't this developed before if it's all going to be the same? Just curious.
I mean, why wasn't that parcel developed with the rest of, I actually don't have an answer to that. That's a question that would, the owner would have to,
Okay, I was just curious because it's been there
so-
forever.
it has, yeah.
All right, thank you. I got no other questions.
Thank you. If there being no other questions, I will open this up for a public hearing. Ms. Hernandez, are there any speaker cards?
We have no speakers.
I will close the public hearing. Thank you, Mr. Birch.
Thank you.
Hearing none, may I have a motion?
I'll motion to approve Buena Vista expansion conditional use permit PLZU-24-0005 with subject to conditions A through F. Is that
second.
correct?
Yes. Could you say that again, Vice Chair, please?
Second it.
Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Mr. Birch. And Trish, you did all the heavy lifting. Thank you. Regular agenda item 4B, Sunrise Commerce Center, Comprehensive Sign Plan, case number PLZDR-23-00028. Mr. Ken Galika.
Good evening again, Chair, Vice Chair, members of the Commission. Ken Galika, Planning Manager, presenting a comprehensive sign plan for Sunrise Commerce Center. If the name sounds familiar, P&Z just within the last few months approved the site plan for this proposed development. To refresh your memory, this site is located at the northwest corner of Apache Road and Yuma Road, so in the same neighborhood as Trish's project, just to the north there. It is currently undeveloped, vacant property, not used for any agricultural purposes. Surrounding uses include single family to the east with the Acacia Crossing single family community. To the west is undeveloped property, and then Jones Ford just west of that. And to the south of the site, the aerial doesn't show that, but there is a multifamily project under development, the bungalows at Sundance. And then directly south of them, the Leaf Verde mobile home park, or RV park, I should say. So the purpose of tonight's meeting is to approve the comprehensive sign plan. Again, the P&Z did approve the site plan for this development, which is, as you can see on the right side, a 5-building kind of flex industrial, flex commercial type of project, where each of these buildings, 5 buildings, can be either occupied by a single user or delineated into multi-tenant spaces with good freeway visibility, good access off of Yuma as well. So tonight we will be looking at the sign package. And included within that CSP are 2 freestanding signs. The first, and I'll show you what these look like in just a second, but the first is a multi-tenant monument sign located at the project main entrance, just adjacent to Yuma Road. The second is a freeway pylon sign intended to basically create visibility of the tenants in the center from the perspective of I-10. And then, like most projects, there will be building mounted signage for the tenants. Each of the blue, yellow rectangles on the screen represents frontages that tenants can have illuminated signage. And then these purple rectangles, because they face east with adjacent single family residential there, those frontages would be limited solely to non-illuminated signage. So I mentioned the first of the 2 freestanding signs is a multi-tenant monument. It's proposed for approximately 15 feet in height. That is well within the allowances of our development code for this type of development. The size of this sign, the design of the sign, well, let me speak to the size first. The size of the sign, both in terms of area, height, those types of things are all well within the development code's established requirements. The design of the sign, you may recall, and I'll show you some elevations in just a second, but it's very complementary of the contemporary architecture of these buildings. Uses the same materials and colors, as well as that kind of brushed aluminum accent material that the buildings feature as well. This would have space for up to 8 tenants on this sign. Actually, no, I'm sorry, it is 10 tenants on this sign. So whether you're located in one of the buildings up front off of Yuma Road or toward the back adjacent to I-10, you'll be able to have some signage adjacent to the traffic on Yuma. The pylon is consistent with the heights and sizes for freeway pylon signage. Again, these do need to be taller just because of the distance from the travel lanes on I-10 as well as the speed of traffic. So you need to be able to see these a little bit more. This one would be 65 feet in height. Again, would have those 10 tenant panels, and again would utilize the same full range of colors and materials, really kind of creating a cohesive look. The signs will feature illumination, what we call halo illuminated reverse pan channel letters for the Sunrise Commerce Center, which is these here, which is basically a solid letter with lighting behind it. So you don't actually see the light, you see the glow of the light coming around the solid letter. Whereas the tenant panels themselves, those would be routed out, basically cut out of aluminum with the light shining through. I mentioned the proposed wall signage, and these are the buildings, just to refresh your memory. The sign package does identify sign bands, so where the signs, where each tenant would be able to have signs on that elevation, that's this red band here. And for the elevations, again, that face east to the single-family subdivision, this purple band would be where you could have non-illuminated signage. All of the building-mounted signage would be required to be that reverse pan channel halo illumination. So there would be very consistent feel throughout the project, high-quality feel, and you can kind of just see an example of what a building-mounted reverse pan channel sign could look like. So the only reason we are here this evening, the applicant is not asking for taller signage or larger, wider signage than our code allows. The only reason we're here is because they're asking for the two separate signs. Either of these freestanding signs, whether it's the multi-tenant or the freeway pylon, if they only ask for one of those, we could approve it administratively. Because they do want the second sign, it does require going here to P&Z, which this is a condition as proposed, is very consistent with similar positioned properties in the valley where you do have I-10 frontage. As I mentioned several times, the design staff feels is high quality, and the illumination methods are pretty much the gold standard as far as aesthetics goes. And we have taken care to mitigate any light impacts. So with that, Chair, we do recommend approval of this comprehensive sign plan subject to just 3 conditions, A through C. This does not require a public hearing. I do want to mention too, we do have a representative from Boots and Duke, the sign company, here tonight. Doesn't have a presentation, but available for questions.
Thank you, Mr. Calico. I'm going to stay down. Let's start with you again, Ms. Puppy.
I feel privileged. I don't have any questions, thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Cupsack.
It looks great, no questions.
Yeah, I like the design. No questions?
Mr. Bassler.
No questions.
Mr. Tripiano.
No questions.
I'd like to go on the record and say those signs for signage, they look amazing, I must admit. So may I have a motion?
I will motion to approve Sunrise Commerce Center comprehensive sign plan, PLZ DR-23-00028, subject to conditions A through C.
May I have a second?
I'll second it.
It's been moved and second. Any opposed? All in favor, excuse me? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. I'm sorry. You relax, it passed. All right, regular agenda item 4C, Buckeye 225, site plan case number PLZSP-23-00001. Mr. Galika?
Yep. Thank you again, Chair. As you correctly noted, this is a site plan application for a project called Buckeye 225. So this is 218 net acres. You wonder, why is it called Buckeye 225 when it's 218? 225 in terms of gross acreage, but after dedicating rights of way and whatnot, it gets down to 218. So that's where we started, and the 7 acres have kind of disappeared into streets. So we're here tonight for this property located at the northwest corner of State Route 85 and Baseline Road. It does extend all the way up to Southern, so it's essentially a mile in height or length, however you want to look at that. And it's about a third of a mile wide, extending to what we call the 271st avenue alignment. And I'll show you what that looks like in just a second. Property is currently agriculturally used for farming purposes. So are all the properties that surround it, with the exception of the properties to the south that are currently in industrial use for Fertizona and I believe another industrial use occurring south of Baseline Road. If you look at the zoning map, which is the right of the two graphics on your screen, this property, as well as the property to the west and most of the property to the east across State Route 85 are zoned light industrial. This particular site was approved by council for light industrial zoning back in October 22. That was just immediately after the city processed our general plan amendment for the State Route 85 corridor. So this was kind of one of the first properties that were to take advantage of that general plan amendment and start processing further entitlements. The properties to the north and south, that deep red color, that's the old general commerce obsolete zoning district, which is also an industrial district. Basically on all four sides of this property, there is industrial zoning. So this is very consistent with the existing zoning. So the site plan tonight is for a project, a spec light industrial project, meaning the specific users, the specific tenants of these buildings are not known yet. They could be likely be warehouse distribution types of uses. They could also be light manufacturing, research and development types of uses. The applicant, the developer of this project, will have a list of uses that they will be able to try to solicit tenants for. So this is kind of designed to be multi-purpose. The plan features 6 single-story buildings, as is traditional for industrial types of buildings. These are taller single-story buildings, so ranging in height from 46 to 57 feet. These heights are well in line with the I-1 district allowances. The buildings themselves, in terms of area, range from about 273,000 square feet. Those are the 2 smallest buildings on the north end of the site. And just to orient you, I've now flipped us sideways. North is the right side of your screen. South is the left side. So Baseline and Southern Avenue are left and right, with 271st Avenue, which is a future half-mile road, doesn't currently exist, to the west, and then, of course, State Route 85 to the south. In total, I should say that the largest building is the southernmost building adjacent to Baseline. That comes in just under 1 million square feet. The total square footage is about 3.4 million. So sizable project. The project does feature 8 different driveway entrances. 4 are full access, meaning left in, left out, right in, right out. Those are the 4 shown with the green full labels. All of those are off of 271st Avenue. There are also 4 limited access driveways, limited to right in and right out, for reasons related to proximity to adjacent streets or intersections or driveways. You have to limit those. So you can see there's 1 right in, right out to Baseline, and 2 to Southern. There are future signals in the city's plans for both intersections of Baseline and 271st and Southern and 271st. Those won't be constructed with the project. They'll be constructed when warranted. Developer will, as is typical, construct all the adjacent half-street improvements. And then since we have public streets on 3 sides here, those are fairly significant improvements. Widening out Baseline Road, widening out Southern Avenue, and then building the eastern half of the new collector street called 271st. Pedestrian connectivity is provided with all the street improvements to the 3 streets that I mentioned. The developer will be constructing public sidewalks on all those frontages, and then from each of the buildings, the primary entrances to those sidewalks, internal pedestrian access is provided. We don't provide too much internal pedestrian access from building to building, mainly because they're separated by loading, receiving areas. We don't want to encourage too much pedestrian traffic when there's going to be truck activity. A little over 2,800 parking spaces are provided for this site plan. They're shown in those darker gray highlighted areas. There's the opportunity here too to convert truck courts for more parking intensive uses. Basically, the parking that's provided is good for warehousing distribution uses based on the typical rates of employment per square feet. But if these were to become more employee intensive uses, which would require more parking, those truck court loading areas where you see the loading bays can very easily be converted. One of the biggest things that staff always works on when we take on these industrial types of projects is aesthetics, and particularly screening of the various truck courts, loading areas and loading bays. And we have accomplished that, and I'll show you some pictures in just a second, through landscaping. It's actually provided over a very significant percentage of the site, 25% of the site, whereas 10% is required. So we have much wider, deeper landscape setbacks here, up to 150 feet in certain instances where trees will help to buffer and screen. And then each of the truck court areas, and I should point out that those are the areas that are shown in blue. This is where your semis will pull up to the loading bays and unload or load up their orders and then get on their way. So each of these blue areas will be screened by also an 8-foot decorative CMU wall, and you can see a picture of what that looks like. Just to give you a perspective, a better visual of kind of how this project will look if you were in a hot air balloon. These top two images are good. The first one, the top left, is looking at the site looking south. So you're looking at the Southern Avenue frontage there with the two smallest buildings. You see the landscape buffers with the internalized storage areas. The picture just to the right of that is the opposite. It's looking from baseline north, and you can see the largest of the buildings with the loading areas and the very significant landscape setback that's provided adjacent to baseline. And then this picture here is if you were standing basically in the middle of the street on baseline looking into the site. So you'll see how the walls, combination of walls and landscaping will really eliminate or reduce views of those loading areas. Architecturally, this is a very contemporary, attractive, in staff's opinion, project. These are concrete tilt panel buildings that are proposed, which is kind of the majority of these larger warehouse industrial types of developments are going to. They do utilize a fluted, basically ribbed type of form liner. You can see at the corner accent features, entries, etc., as well as some mid-wall locations just to provide greater texture. We utilize metal accents, canopies, good use of glazing, and when they do use the glazing, it's recessed. A lot of just good architectural techniques here. The color palette's very neutral, beiges, browns, just with a little bit of pop of color with the blue color that you see for accent. All of the buildings, all 6, will share similar architecture, so it'll look like a master planned unified project. Overall, very strong massing. You can just see looking at these pictures, it's not just a flat wall, it moves in and out, creates depth and shadow. The roof line as well drops up or extends up and then drops down at various intervals. We have received no public feedback on this project. And we believe that the project does conform to the general plan designation, kind of the goal of the SR 85 corridor for employment light industrial. All of the I-1 zoning district development standards, building heights, setbacks, landscaping, et cetera, are either met or exceeded by this project. I mentioned the specific users aren't known yet, so we can't say exactly what's going to go in here, but rest assured, anything that locates in here would have to be a permitted use in that I-1 district. We do feel this has high quality architecture, screening and landscaping design, Our traffic engineering team, as well as fire and police, have reviewed access, internal circulation. Everything checks out, and water and sewer will be provided by the city. So with that, Chair, Vice Chair, Commission, we do recommend approval of the site plan subject to conditions A through HH. I do want to note one small technology error. When we uploaded the staff report to our Granicus portal, something happened in the conversion where a couple of question marks got added into some stipulations. Staff and the applicant are aware of what those are supposed to say, so we'll just work with the previous version that doesn't contain those typos.
Thank you, Mr. Galika. Great presentation. Never boring. Thank you, sir.
Oh, I did mean to say, we do have a presentation from the applicant for this project.
And who might that be?
Who's delivering it? Is it Holly? Holly Redding from Tiffany and Bosco. I'll give you the clicker, Holly.
Hello, Holly. While we're waiting for him to get you the clicker, could you state your name and your address, please?
Yep, Holly Redding, 2525 East Camelback Road, Phoenix.
Thank you, Holly.
IT, can you remind me what the command is for expanding the PDF? Full screen? Control L. Sorry, bear with me here.
Good evening, Commissioners. As Mr. Galika stated, that this site is located along the SR 85 corridor that is mainly industrial, which is our use. This is just a zoomed-in version of it. These are the different heights that were discussed of each building, and it is rotated north is to your right. The views from the project traveling south on 85 are buffered with different open space for the ADOT parcel there to the northeast corner. And then there's also drainage, parking, and other landscape setbacks throughout, so it's screened from the public driving down the highway. The aerial of the site. You can see the different heights throughout the building, and it punches in and out, so you're not, the view linear is architecturally designed nicely. And then, as you stated, there's different materials, metal, concrete, tilt, different colors, but all very aesthetically pleasing to the natural desert. Really it, if you have any questions.
Thank you, Holly. Great job.
Thank you.
Commission, let's start down on this end this time. Sebastian, Mr. Tripiano, please.
I like the design and everything, but putting on my future hat, and this is probably a question for Mr. Willits. Arizona 85 eventually is going to be a full freeway, is my understanding. Is that correct? By ADOT. And is there gonna be enough room that either Southern or Baseline's gonna have an exit? The last thing I want to see is them build this building, then have to tear something down to accommodate a full freeway. Has that been taken into account with this?
Yes, Chair and Commissioner, I forgot to say that earlier, sorry. Yes, ADOT has already planned for the future interchanges. All the right-of-way has been acquired from this property and other properties up and down 85 for the full freeway and the full-blown interchanges.
Okay, it was just like extra construction's never wanted, so, thank you.
Mr. Bassler?
No questions, looks good.
Vice Chair?
No questions, just a comment. I appreciate no entrances or exits along 85 to add more turn lanes and/or stopping and starting, so much appreciated, thank you.
Ms. Cupsack?
I just have one, and John, don't leave, it's probably for you. With the half-street improvement on 271st, or whatever that number was, who builds the other side of it? So will their half-street be north and south until something develops on the other side of that road, or how does that work?
Chair, Commissioner, my understanding is public P&Z will build the other half of the road. No, I'm just kidding. No, the way it's set up is the development builds the east half, and when the west half property comes in, when they come in and develop, they will build the other half, the other west half of the property, build and finish a complete road.
So the east half will be a north and south, it'll just be one lane?
In the interim condition, it'll be one lane in each direction, a middle turn lane between Baseline and Southern, and then when the west half builds, they'll build the remaining part of the road. It'll be 2 lanes in each direction in the middle turn lane.
Okay.
Or median, depends on what gets built.
Okay, that answers my question. That's all I had. Great project. Thanks.
Thank you, Ms. Cupsack. Now, Ms. Puppy.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I don't have any questions either, but I think it was very nice aesthetics and looks very nice. Great use of the land in that area. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Puppy. I'm excited because if you look on the 303, and if that's what we're attempting to do, that's the best place for a warehouse. So with that said, may I have a motion?
Chair, I'd like to make a motion to approve the site plan PLZ SP-23-0001 with conditions A through HH.
Can I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next on the agenda is comments from the public. Ms. Hernandez, there are none?
No, Chair.
Seeing there are none. County manager report. Did I skip something? Oh, planning manager.
Good evening, Chair, members of the commission. I have nothing other than to wish everybody a Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, whatever your faith is, happy holidays. Enjoy warm holiday season. Thanks.
Thank you. Are there anything from the commission?
Just Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays.
Mr. Bassler?
Enjoy your 24th off.
Thanks.
Oh.
How's that?
Yes, I will miss you all on the 24th. Merry Christmas, everybody.
Ms. Puppy?
I don't know if this was your domain or not, Mr. Chairman, but I know Glow on Monroe is coming this weekend, so that's exciting. I will not be able to be there, but we just had Cotton Fest, and that was real fun. So, Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. And Merry Christmas to all, and to all a good night. This meeting's adjourned.